This gentle meditation is designed to help you unwind, quiet your mind, and slip into deep restorative relaxation. As you listen, allow your body to soften, your breath to slow, and your thoughts to gently drift away so you can fully surrender to rest. I am so glad you are here, and I hope this little pocket of time becomes a gentle doorway into ease. Before we begin, I would love to know where you are listening from, so please leave a kind comment with your city or country, because it helps us all feel a little closer and a little more human together. Thank you for sharing your corner of the world, and thank you for allowing yourself this care. Find a position that feels supportive and comfortable, whether you are seated with your feet resting on the floor or lying down with a pillow beneath your head and perhaps a blanket across your body. Allow your shoulders to soften just a little, and let your jaw loosen as if you were about to hum a soft lullaby to yourself. If it feels safe, let your eyes close gently, or soften your gaze toward a quiet point in front of you. We will begin with the breath, and we will keep it simple and kind. Breathe in slowly through your nose and feel the cool air sweep across the back of your throat and settle deep into your belly. Hold the breath for a comfortable moment, not forcing, simply noticing that you are here and that you are breathing. Exhale through your mouth with a soft sigh, as if you were fogging a mirror in the wintertime, and imagine that every ounce of tension rides the breath out and away. Let us try that again, and let your inhale be a little smoother and a little kinder to your body. Inhale to a count that feels steady, perhaps to a slow count of 4, allowing your belly to rise like a calm tide. Pause for a gentle heartbeat of stillness that feels natural and unrushed. Exhale to a slow count of 6, which invites your nervous system to settle down and your thoughts to grow quieter. As you keep breathing, imagine drawing a circle of light around yourself, a circle that is warm but not hot, bright but not glaring, and shaped exactly to your comfort. This circle is your boundary of ease for the next few minutes, and everything within it is permitted to soften, to slow, and to be enough. You are welcome to rest here, and you are welcome to do nothing else but breathe. Now we will check in with the body with the gentleness you would offer to a sleepy friend who needs your patience. Bring your attention to the crown of your head and imagine a soft, warm beam of light resting there, releasing worry and smoothing the tiny muscles along your scalp. Let the light cascade down across your forehead, ironing out any furrows and any overthinking that gathered throughout the day. Feel your eyebrows relax and your eyelids soften, while the muscles behind your eyes loosen their grip on any screens or bright lights you have stared at today. Allow the warm light to travel down the bridge of your nose, relaxing the tiny passages of breath, and then let it melt across your cheeks, releasing any places that clench when life feels loud. Invite your jaw to unclench by parting your teeth slightly and resting your tongue behind your front teeth, as if you were about to smile at someone kind. Let the light ease down your neck, softening the places that try to hold everything all at once, and let your throat widen with a feeling of spaciousness and safety. Bring the light to your shoulders and imagine them dropping like heavy coats you do not need to wear indoors. Let your collarbones feel buoyant, as though two small rafts are floating on a quiet lake at dusk. As the light moves across your upper back and shoulder blades, imagine each breath creating a little more room between the vertebrae, like pages in a well-loved book, gently fanned by a breeze. Guide the light into your chest and notice the slow rise and fall of your breath, a tide that keeps returning without being told. Offer your heart a silent thank you for its constant work and its quiet devotion to your life, and let that gratitude land fully. Allow the light to wash through your ribs and the spaces between them, so your breath can move with a bit more freedom and ease. Let the light pour into your belly, which is allowed to be soft, rounded, and completely at ease. If your belly has been bracing through the day because of stress or expectation, invite it to loosen and to trust that this moment is safe. Imagine your breath circling your organs with kindness and warmth, as if you were tucking them in with a comfortable blanket. Let the warm glow drift across your hips, your low back, and your pelvis, and notice any place that clings or contracts. Offer those places a generous exhale, as if you were opening a window to let in evening air. Feel your thighs grow heavy and supported, as though the earth beneath you has placed a hand there and said you can rest now. Guide the light to your knees, to your shins, to your calves, and finally to your ankles and feet. Imagine each toe receiving a tiny note that says you did enough today and you are allowed to release the last bit of tension. Let all 10 toes loosen and spread slightly, and then feel the entire weight of your body yield to gravity in a way that feels safe and grounded. Return your attention to your breath and notice how the body now seems to cooperate with the rhythm, like a shoreline agreeing to the tide. If your mind starts listing tasks or replaying conversations, you can nod to each thought with friendliness and let it float past like a quiet boat that does not need to dock here. Every time you notice you have drifted into thought, you are not failing at meditation, you are simply noticing, which is the practice itself. Now we will set a gentle intention for this time, and we will choose words that feel compassionate and real. You might say, I choose to be kind to myself in this moment, or I choose softening instead of striving, or I choose to rest. Pick the phrase that meets you where you are and let it ride the breath in and out for the next few cycles. If it helps, imagine that your intention is written in warm light upon the air in front of you, and with each breath it becomes clearer and a little more present in your body. There is no pressure to feel any certain way, and there is no scoreboard keeping track, because your presence here is already enough. Let that truth settle in like a stone in a riverbed, stable and quietly certain. We will now invite a brief visualization designed to support calm without demanding effort. Picture a quiet path at the edge of evening, where the sky is painted with the last soft colors of the day and the first early stars begin to appear. Feel the ground beneath your feet, steady and slightly cool, and notice the gentle sound of leaves whispering to one another in a friendly breeze. Along the path there is a small wooden bench, worn smooth by time and by the many people who rested there before you, and it is waiting for you now. You take a seat, and as you breathe in, you catch the scent of clean air and a hint of something floral, maybe lavender or wildflower, which seems to reassure the mind that all is well. With every exhale, the sky grows a little deeper and a little more velvety, and the early stars shine a little brighter. Up above, a gentle lantern appears, the kind you might hang on a porch in the summertime, and the lantern glows with a steady golden light. This lantern represents your attention, and it does not need to be a spotlight or a searchlight, because gentle awareness is perfectly sufficient here. You notice that when your thoughts wander, the lantern simply waits for you, patient and unwavering. And when you return, the light welcomes you back. Breathe in and feel the glow of the lantern mirrored in your chest. A warm, centered steadiness that does not demand anything from you. Breathe out and imagine the light widening just enough to include the path, the bench, and the quiet trees that stand nearby like kind guardians. Stay with this easy rhythm and let your shoulders descend another small step. As you linger here, bring to mind one thing that went well today, no matter how small, and allow yourself to savor it the way you might savor the last sweet sip of tea. Perhaps it was a smile from a stranger, or a moment of courage, or a simple breath that felt particularly freeing. Let gratitude rise and move through your chest like sunlight breaking through gentle clouds. Now bring to mind one thing that was difficult today, not to dwell, but to acknowledge with tenderness and respect. Offer that difficulty the same kindness you would offer a dear friend, and quietly say to yourself that it was hard and that you did your best with the energy and resources you had. Imagine setting that difficulty down beside the bench for the moment, knowing you can pick it up later with fresh perspective if you choose. Breathe in and say softly to yourself, I am safe in this moment. Breathe out and say, I am allowed to rest. Allow these phrases to move through you like gentle notes of music, simple and trustworthy. If you feel any remaining tension or tightness anywhere in the body, send your next 3 exhales directly to that place, and imagine the breath is a stream of warm air that melts tension like frost under morning sun. With each exhale, picture the tightness loosening strand by strand, as if you were untying a knot with patience and care. Let the body register that it does not need to hold so tightly anymore. Take a moment to notice the quiet around you, even if there are distant sounds, because you can allow them to be part of the environment rather than interruptions. Let each sound be a small wave that rises and falls without asking for your involvement, while your attention remains steady and content. You are learning that stillness can exist inside you even when the world carries on. If you would like to deepen this feeling, extend your exhale a little longer for the next few breaths, which signals to your whole system that you are safe and that you can soften more fully. Inhale slowly and kindly, and then exhale a beat longer, like a gentle door closing with a quiet click. Feel how the heart rate eases and how the mind settles into the present like a bird finding its branch. Now we will gather your attention with a simple count, and we will do it with a rhythm that does not strain. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Repeat this count 2 more times, knowing that the numbers are only a soft guide and that your comfort is the priority. Let the counting fade and return to your natural breath, which knows how to care for you without instruction. Sense the quality of your awareness now, which may feel wider, softer, and more accepting than when you began. If the mind is still lively, that is completely acceptable, because you can be calm and have thoughts at the same time. If you have not yet done so, I would love for you to share in the comments where you are listening from, whether it is a busy city, a quiet village, a dorm room, a night shift break room, or a cozy corner of your home. When we see these places appear, we remember that we are breathing together across oceans and time zones, and that community brings a warm kind of courage. Thank you for sharing your location and for being part of this gentle circle. As we prepare to close this introduction, know that you can carry this softness with you into whatever comes next, whether it is deeper meditation, quiet reflection, gentle movement, or restful sleep. You can always return to the circle of light around you with a simple breath and a single friendly thought that says, "Here I am again." You have practiced arriving, and arriving is a beautiful practice to repeat. Take 3 final nourishing breaths together with me now, and let each one be an expression of care for your nervous system and your whole body. Breathe in through the nose and feel the rib cage widen. Then breathe out through the mouth and feel the shoulders melt. Breathe in again and sense the steadiness beneath you. Then breathe out and imagine the lantern above the path glowing a little brighter. Breathe in once more and know that you are safe. Then breathe out and let a soft thank you rise from within for taking this time for yourself. When you are ready, you may keep your eyes closed and continue into your personal practice, or you may slowly open your eyes and bring your attention back to the space around you, noticing colors, shapes, and the way light collects on familiar objects. Move your fingers and your toes with small circles, and if you feel called, stretch your arms or roll your shoulders with gentleness. You're doing wonderful. You have arrived in this soft moment, and your presence here is a gift to your body and your breath. Let your shoulders settle another quiet inch, and notice how the space around you feels a little kinder each time you exhale. There is no urgency here, and there is no need to perform because rest does not ask for perfection. Imagine a warm hush draping across the room like a gentle shawl, and feel how it invites your thoughts to loosen their knots. Your breath is the thread that moves through, steady and patient, stitching comfort into every corner of your evening. If any thought arrives with loud steps, you can nod politely and let it pass by, because your inner path continues forward into quieter woods. In your mind's eye, you notice a lantern resting on a wooden fence post, and the lantern's glow is honey gold and unwavering. It casts a halo over a narrow trail that leads into a drowsy meadow where moths drift like floating petals in slow motion. As you breathe in, the lantern brightens, and as you breathe out, the light widens with calm assurance, offering a safe invitation to wander at an unhurried pace. You step onto the path with easy footsteps, and the ground beneath you feels springy and welcoming, as if it remembers everyone who has ever chosen rest over rush. Your knees ease with each stride, and your spine feels gently lengthened, like a tall reed swaying with a friendly breeze. Far off, a chorus of evening crickets begins a familiar lullaby, and each note seems to fall exactly where it belongs. Overhead, the sky is a quilt of violet and blue, stitched with the first silver pricks of starlight that arrive like kind faces at a cozy gathering. A low cloud drifts by with the softness of brushed velvet, and it looks as though it could carry your worries in its pocket and keep them for you until morning. This is a place where the night smiles, where the air is cool and gentle, and where everything that needs to settle is already learning how. As you walk, the meadow opens into a small clearing with a pool so calm that the sky appears twice, once above and once below. The water smells faintly of rain and stone, and the surface is smooth like polished glass, crafted by the patient hands of time. When you kneel at the edge, the pool reflects your face as if it were lit by candlelight, kind and rested and immeasurably human. Dip your fingertips into the water and watch slow circles ripple outward, carrying your day's edges away with the grace of drifting leaves. You do not have to follow them, because they are content to travel beyond your worry and fade into the soft dark of the far shore. Inhaling here feels like gathering warmth, and exhaling feels like setting down a bundle that has been heavier than you realized. A path of smooth stones arcs around the pool, each one luminous with a faint inner glow, as if they have stored sunshine just for nights like this. You step from stone to stone in an easy rhythm, and the gentle pattern matches your breath until it feels like a dance learned long ago. With each step, the bones of your feet relax, the arches unfurl, and the small muscles release their quiet effort, trusting the earth to hold you. The stones lead you to a wooden footbridge resting over a whispering stream that moves like silver ribbon, The stream speaks in murmurs, and you do not need to understand the language to know that it is praising the patience of the night. Lean on the railing for a moment and listen to the music of water touching water, because the world keeps singing even when you are tired. As you cross, a soft wind arrives from a grove of moonlit birches, and their white trunks shine like gentle pillars holding up a ceiling of softly shivering leaves. The leaves wiggle with a shy brightness, and the sound is delicate as the brush of silk against silk. With every breath, your ribs open as though they finally trust that there is enough space for you here. Beyond the grove, you discover a small cottage nestled into a hill, round and welcoming, with a thatched roof that looks like a sleeping animal curled against the night. A window glows in amber tones, and smoke rises from a chimney, fragrant with hints of cedar and faint vanilla. At the door, a simple wooden sign reads "Rest House," and the letters feel familiar, like a friend's handwriting on a well-loved note. You open the door and step into warmth, and the air carries the scent of tea and rain-kissed earth. Shelves line the walls with jars of quiet things, labeled with names like gentle moments and soft breaths and long exhales. In the corner, a kettle sings to itself in tiny, cheerful sighs, and a low fire carves slow patterns of light over the floorboards. A chair waits near the hearth, wide and deep, with a woven blanket folded over the arm like a promise. When you settle into the chair, it holds you in the way sturdy branches cradle a bird that has flown far enough for one day. The cushion rises in time with your breath, and you can feel your body learning the melody of ease, one measure at a time. On a small table there is a teacup already prepared, its surface releasing spirals of steam that curl like written whispers. You lift the cup and feel the warmth pool in your palms, and that warmth climbs the ladder of your wrists with patient steps. When you sip, the tea tastes like chamomile in a quiet orchard, and it asks nothing of you except to notice. Across from you, a tiny clock rests on the mantel, ticking with a friendly tempo that has no urgency and no chase. The hands slide forward like swimmers gliding under moonlight, and time feels fluid and generous and safe. As you watch, the minutes soften their corners, and the day's edges blur into a watercolor wash of restful colors. Your breath settles in a simple pattern that comforts your nervous system, in for a slow 4, out for a gentle 6, repeated like a lullaby with no fixed end. As you inhale, picture a glow gathering in your chest, and as you exhale, imagine that glow spreading outward, dimming the chatter of your thoughts. Every breath is a message that says you are safe, and safety is the best pillow for the mind. Rest your head against the chair and let your jaw loosen until your teeth part slightly and your tongue relaxes behind your lower front teeth. Feel the tiny muscles around your eyes soften as though a cool cloth has been placed over a busy day. Your forehead smooths, your temples ease, and your scalp feels like it is exhaling for the first time today. Now invite your awareness to travel down the river of your neck and across the shallow bay of your shoulders, which are allowed to set down every invisible weight. Let your collarbones feel buoyant, and let your upper back spread like a map that no longer needs to be folded tightly. As your chest receives the next breath, you might sense a gentle brightness, the kind that appears when the first star finds its place. The warmth of the fire hushes to a steady glow, and the floor creaks lightly as the cottage settles into its own night rhythm. Outside the window, the birches make a lace of silver against the sky, and a few moths write slow cursive with their wings. Everything agrees to quiet, and you are part of this agreement, without effort and without having to earn anything. On the table beside you rests a small wooden box with a sliding lid, smooth from many peaceful hands. You open the lid to find little paper feathers, each one bearing a simple phrase, an invitation that is both ordinary and sacred. Choose one gently and read the words, which say, "It is enough to rest now," and feel those words sink into your bones like warm rain into dry soil. Return the feather to the box and notice a soft heaviness arriving in your limbs. the good kind of heaviness that means the body is ready to surrender to gravity's kindness. Your arms nestle closer to your sides, your hands uncurl, and your fingers no longer grip at the air for answers. Your legs lengthen into comfort, and your feet feel held by the floor as if the earth were tucking a shawl around your ankles. If a stray thought tries to measure how restful you have become, you can smile at it, because the softest progress is usually the kind that does not keep score. Let the thought drift like a leaf down the stream, and hear the stream say thank you as it carries the leaf away. The leaf has a journey that does not require your supervision, which means you are free to close your eyes more completely. Somewhere outside, an owl speaks in a mellow voice, and the sound feels like a small lamp shining in a familiar window. The owl's call does not stir you, because it belongs to the night's calm conversation, and you are simply a welcomed listener. Let the notes dissolve into the hush that gathers around your chair and weaves a quilt of steady silence. Picture the cottage roof under starlight, and imagine the stars practicing a careful art, placing themselves in old patterns that have always meant safety to travelers. Those patterns exist in you as well, in the steady beat of your heart and the measured pace of your breath. When the sky arranges its constellations, it is simply remembering itself, and rest is your way of remembering yourself too. Now allow a very gentle wave of gratitude to move through you, not because you must feel grateful, but because the body likes the warm drink of appreciation. Thank your eyes for softening, and thank your shoulders for lowering, and thank your mind for trying, even when trying looks like letting go. Gratitude does not need a parade, since a whisper is often enough to unlock the door to peace. You may notice that the edges of the room feel a little blurry now, as though sleep has begun to paint the walls with watercolor twilight. Shapes become simpler, and sounds become round and gentle, and the air in the cottage feels like a lullaby you can breathe. Let your attention rest on the space just behind your heart, a quiet alcove where the day cannot reach you. In this alcove there is a small swing made of thought and breath, and it moves very slowly, back and forth, steady and safe. You sit on this inner swing and feel its rhythm match the quiet rocking of your body's own tides. The swing does not take you anywhere new, because it was never about arrival, only about the kindness of being held. Return once more to the sound of the kettle's faint sighs and the clock's calm footsteps. You are held between these two comforts, like a page tucked between the covers of a familiar book. All the chapters that mattered today will still matter tomorrow if they need to, and the rest can slip away into the soft margins of the night. When you inhale now, the breath arrives like a letter addressed lovingly to your name, and when you exhale, the letter answers itself with a promise of rest. You do not need to open this letter all the way, because its meaning is already inside your calm chest. The body translates the promise into muscles that finally trust the bed, the chair, the room, and the wide, patient night. If a fragment of worry arrives and asks to sit nearby, you can offer it a cushion and tell it kindly that it may rest too. Not every worry is a fire to be put out, because some are just tired travelers that need permission to sleep. Tell them that morning is better at answering questions, and that tonight is for quiet, and feel how the room agrees. Your breath is a lighthouse that does not need to prove its brightness, because the shore already knows where it is. Each exhale is a tide that slides out with a soft hush, and each inhale is a tide that returns with gentle certainty. Trust this rhythm to carry you, because it has carried you through every night you have ever known. Let your awareness drift to your hands and notice the temperature of your palms and the pleasant heaviness in your fingers. Sense your wrists as quiet hinges that no longer need to swing open and closed for tasks. Your forearms settle like sleepy branches, and your upper arms nestle in as though returning to a familiar nest. Invite the same calm to your hips and low back, and picture a gentle cushion of night air supporting that tender curve. Your thighs release their plan to sprint, and your knees sigh as though they have finally found a bench in the shade. Your calves and ankles soften into neutrality, a peaceful middle where nothing is asked and everything is allowed. Now, if your mind wishes for something simple to hold, give it a tiny star to watch, an imagined one that lives just above the cottage window. As you inhale, see the star glow a little brighter, and as you exhale, watch it blur into a soft halo until it looks like a dream blooming. Continue this easy stargazing and let it become a habit that gently uncurls the last hesitant threads of wakefulness. A hush falls deeper over the room, and the fire slows its dance to a slow sway of embers. The walls rest in the glow, the clock's voice softens, and the air cools to the perfect temperature of drowsy comfort. Even the floorboards seem to breathe with you, rising and falling with the quietest tides. If you wish, you can imagine that someone kind places a soft quilt across your lap and shoulders, a quilt pieced from bits of moonlight, gentle affirmations, and found moments of bravery from your day. The quilt carries the weight of reassurance, and that weight is the language your body trusts most easily. Under this quilt, your breath writes small, steady poems you do not need to read in order to understand. Tell yourself a sentence made of kindness and speak it inside your mind with the tone you reserve for those you love. You might say, "I have done enough for today," or "I am worthy of quiet," or "I am safe and I can rest." Repeat the sentence once or twice and then let it dissolve into the general sweetness of the room like sugar melting into warm tea. The cottage door remains closed against the chilly night, and inside, the air holds a steady warmth that traces a halo around your comfort. Your breathing has become so soft and even that it blends with the lullaby of the stream and the mild hush of the trees. Nothing here demands your attention, which means that attention can relax its grip and nestle into the simplest thing of all, which is rest. You are doing wonderfully, which is to say you are doing nothing in exactly the way rest prefers. The body hums at a low, peaceful volume, and the mind finds its favorite chair beside the hearth and leans back without argument. Even memory feels tender now, because night is a gentle keeper, and it promises to hold everything while you sleep. Outside, the stars keep watch with their slow silver blinking, a rhythm too patient to belong to worry. A breeze curls around the cottage and smooths the grass down like a parent tucking in a child who has finally yawned. You can feel the echo of that gesture deep within your chest, a tuck of comfort that says stay as long as you like. If you are still awake enough to listen, the kettle has fallen quiet, and the last thread of steam unwinds into the air like a sigh of contentment. The fire lowers its voice to ember talk, a conversation of soft glows and tiny shifts. The room is a cradle that rocks without moving, because the rocking exists in the breath and in the steady thrum of your heart. Let your attention grow lighter than a moth's wing, and let it drift to the edge of the chair where the woven blanket waits. Feel the texture of the yarn against your fingertips, not as something to analyze, but as a gentle anchor that speaks the language of safety. When anchors are soft and kind, they do not hold you down because they hold you close. You might imagine turning off the lantern by the door, and in that imagined darkness, the cottage does not feel empty. It feels like a room that has learned your breathing and matched it, a companion rather than a container. The night beyond the window is no longer a vast unknown. It is a quilt spread across the world, thick enough to keep everyone warm until the first quiet light. If sleep has not already taken your hand, offer it yours, and notice how naturally your fingers entwine. Sleep knows the way through every corridor of the mind, and it prefers the gentlest turns and the widest, softest hallways. You do not need to walk, you can drift, and drifting is how you arrive at the shore of dreams without a ripple. Before you go, the cottage gives you a small keepsake, an imagined token you can carry into sleep, perhaps a tiny acorn of light, or a feather from the evening's hush. Hold it in your mind's palm and feel its calm pulse, a beat that syncs with your own and tells your whole system that the night is friendly. Tuck it gently beneath your pillow of thought, where it will rest as a quiet guardian until the morning opens its soft eyes. Now the chair cradles your weight perfectly, and your jaw has forgotten how to clench, and your shoulders have forgotten how to climb. Your breath keeps moving as if guided by a kind hand, and your body agrees with every easy step it takes toward deeper quiet. The last thing you need to do is nothing at all, and you are already doing it with grace. Sleep is close enough to taste like cool water, and it does not rush you, because real rest understands timing better than any clock. It waits at the edge of your awareness with a lantern, the same honey gold glow that lit the path, ready to walk with you into the wide meadow of dreams. You can step whenever you like, and the ground will be soft, and the sky will be kind, and everything heavy will learn to float. Let the story fold itself now, like a letter sealed with quiet, and place it on the mantel beside the small clock that keeps gentle time. There will be other evenings, and other meadows, and other cottages with other quilts, and you can return to them whenever your bones ask. Tonight it is enough to breathe, and to be held by the ordinary miracle of your own steady heart. May your dreams wander through gardens where lanterns bloom, and may your body wake only as the morning wishes, unhurried and intact. May you be met by a day that understands softness, and may your first sip of light carry the flavor of ease. For now, the door to sleep is open, and the way is clear, and you are already halfway home. Now let's fly across the sleepy night sky. You are safe to lift gently from the day, and you are welcome to travel by breath alone, because your breath knows the routes that lead to peace. Feel the bed supporting you as a quiet launch pad, and sense your shoulders melt down and outward as if they were made of evening light. Inhale slowly and imagine feather-light wings unfolding along your back, not for effort, but for ease, because even the idea of wings can glide you toward calm. Exhale and notice a hush in the room grow deeper. a hush that understands bedtime better than any clock ever could. We lift together, so gently that even the air seems to smile, and the room dips away like the shoreline of a lake at twilight. Your thoughts become small boats moored safely in their harbors, and you do not need to sail any of them tonight. Everything that can wait will wait, and everything that must soften is already learning how with each slow breath you take. Above you stretches a velvet sky brushed with indigo and violet, and the first stars gather like kind friends who have been saving you a seat. Their light does not glare, because it glows with a gentle intention, the kind that respects sleepy eyes and tender hearts. As you glide, the stars keep pace, and their patient brightness maps a path that asks for nothing except your presence. We float past the rooftops, where windows blink their last golden winks, and chimneys send up ribbons of sighing smoke that unwind into the dark. Gardens exhale their green perfumes, and a hush falls across streets that earlier held footsteps and laughter and lists of things to do. The world keeps breathing even when it is quiet, and you can lean into that rhythm as if it were a lullaby written especially for you. Let your jaw relax, and let your tongue rest softly against your lower teeth, creating just enough space for the breath to pass like a friendly breeze. Let your eyes grow heavy while your attention grows light, traveling just ahead like a small lantern leading the way down a gentle path. This is the simplest kind of traveling, where stillness moves and movement rests. We drift toward a wide river of clouds, silvered by moonlight and smooth as quiet milk, and we settle upon it as lightly as a leaf that has decided to nap. The cloud holds you in a cool embrace that feels like fresh sheets and a promise, and the moon paints soft lines along your breath. You can feel the cloud's slow tide beneath you, rocking and rocking with a patience older than worry. From here, the constellations step forward in their gentle choreography, forming images that have soothed travelers for hundreds of years. There is a dancing kettle pouring quiet into the sky, and there is a cradle woven from soft starlight, and there is a path of tiny lamps laid out like pearls. These shapes are stories that tell themselves without words, and they speak the dialect of calm that your body understands perfectly. Take a breath in and sense that calm sink toward your shoulders, clearing away old echoes of effort and the habit of holding everything. Breathe out and feel gravity become a gentle friend, not pulling harshly, but nesting you deeper into the cradle of night. Your muscles begin to hum at a quiet and even volume, the soundless music of a body remembering ease. We drift on, and the cloud carries us toward a meadow that floats high above the world, a meadow stitched to the sky with soft threads of moonbeam. Wildflowers bloom here in hushed colors, and their petals open and close with the timing of your breath, as if they have been watching you all evening. A narrow path through this sky meadow gleams like a ribbon of silk, and it invites us to wander without effort, just to let curiosity stretch its limbs. You step onto the path in your mind, light as a whisper, and each footfall creates a small bell tone that rings once and fades into the great quiet. The bells do not hurry you, because they are content with the space between notes, and the space between notes is where your nervous system rests. This is how peacefulness is composed, one gentle sound at a time, separated by pauses that feel like loving hands. At the edge of the meadow, a constellation river flows in slow motion, made entirely of starlight beads rolling in an endless loop. We kneel there together and dip our fingers into that glow, and the light spirals outward in rings that carry your leftover thoughts away without drama. You can keep your thoughts, or you can let them drift like quiet boats, because either choice is accepted by the night. A moth with moon-pale wings flutters nearby, drawing soft circles in the air, and when it lands on your palm, you feel nothing but a promise of gentleness. The moth reminds you that nighttime belongs to softness, and that soft things are strong in ways we are still learning to name. You release it slowly, and it rises like a note returning to its song. Lean back into the cloud again and notice how the lower back loosens when you give it the kindness of support. Let your hips feel heavy and welcomed, and let the legs lengthen into comfort without needing to do anything at all. Your feet are allowed to forget the day's steps because the night does not keep score. We lift once more and float toward the silver horizon, where the moon hangs like a careful guardian above a range of sleeping hills. The hills breathe a slow fog that curls up like steam from a gentle cup of tea, and we pass through it as easily as light through lace. Each breath you take writes a soft line across the fog, a poem made of kindness that no one needs to read in order to understand. You notice a small observatory resting on a cloud ledge, a round little house with a glass dome that opens like a quiet eyelid. We drift to its door together, and the door opens without a sound, as if it has been waiting for your arrival since the first time you felt tired. Inside is a single chair shaped like a nest, and a telescope that points to the heart of the sky with loving accuracy. Sit in the chair and feel how it cradles you, supporting every curve and valley, as if it were woven from the understanding of your body. Rest your hands on the arms and let your fingers uncurl like petals discovering morning. Tilt your head slightly and watch the stars through the dome, not to analyze them, but simply to receive their ancient calm. The telescope hums softly, tuned to a frequency that matches your breath, and it shows you a cluster of stars that look like a tiny village with gentle lamps. You imagine the little pathways between them, and the slow conversations that starlight has with itself as it travels home. Every journey finds rest, and every rest has its journey. And tonight they meet in you with a beautiful balance. Let the breath slide in through the nose like cool river water, and feel it settle into the belly where safety resides. Let the exhale leave through the lips with a soft whisper, and feel how your shoulders drop another patient inch toward the mattress. This is the choreography of surrender, made of tiny movements that no one else needs to see. We rise again and leave the observatory with gratitude, drifting toward a quiet archway formed by two patient clouds that have learned the art of welcoming. Beyond the archway is a broad bay of night where auroras roll like silk curtains, slow and luminous, folding color into quiet. Their glow paints a tender blush across your cheeks and wraps your thoughts in a calm so complete that even your breath pauses for a delighted moment. You float along the edge of the aurora and notice how the colors pulse gently with your inhale and soften with your exhale, a conversation between sky and breath. Green flows into blue, blue melts into violet, and violet returns to night, each change as effortless as a drowsy blink. There is nothing to do but witness how ease expresses itself when given space. Below us, a quilt of lakes mirrors the sky, and on those lakes, tiny islands hold tiny fires that burn with barely there flames. The flames are not for heat, but for company, and they flicker in a rhythm that reassures every bird tucked into its nest. We honor those fires with a quiet breath that promises rest to all who keep watch. Your neck lengthens slightly as you imagine looking far and gently, the way trees look when they have time to grow without hurrying. The muscles behind your eyes grow soft like velvet, and thoughts begin to dissolve at their edges like sugar surrendering to warm tea. You are learning the wisdom of blurring, the mercy of soft focus that soothes busy minds. A hush of snowflakes begins to drift, not from clouds, but from the aurora itself. Star snow that glows faintly and melts into comfort before it touches anything. Each flake carries a small blessing that whispers, "You have done enough for today," and the blessing dissolves into your breathing like a secret agreement. You do not need to do anything with blessings except allow them to find you. We follow a slender stream of starlight that winds between the snowflakes and leads to a sky garden terrace suspended in the quiet. Vines of dusk lilac weave along the railings, and the petals open like yawns made of color. A cushioned bench waits, and when you lie back upon it in your imagination, the cushion meets you with the precision of love. Feel the gentle weight of a soft blanket appear across your torso, a blanket sewn from the night's kindest moments, and lined with the sigh of distant tides. The weight tells your nervous system that the world is being handled, at least for now, and that you can drop your vigilance without fear. This is what rest sounds like when translated into sensation. Wind flows through the terrace with a voice that murmurs of pine and lake water, and your chest rises to meet it with easy trust. The exhale leaves like a contented traveler easing into a familiar chair, and each breath after that follows the same welcoming path. Breath by breath, the body edits out every extra muscle note until only harmony remains. We lift again, carrying the feeling of the terrace with us, because the best places travel inside you once you have found them. Far ahead, a lighthouse of moonstone appears, its beam not a warning but an invitation that sweeps slowly across a sea of cloud. We drift to its balcony and rest our hands upon the cool stone rail, letting the silver beam wash gently across our faces. Standing there, you notice that the beam arrives in rhythms, brightening and easing like the tide that lives in your lungs. Every arrival says you are here, and every easing says you can let go now. Between the two, a perfect corridor opens, and that corridor is called sleep. Let your shoulders drop again as you lean slightly forward, and notice how the small muscles at the base of the skull soften when the head trusts its own weight. Let your arms grow heavy from elbow to wrist to palm, and let the fingers rest in a curl that means comfort rather than grasping. Your body understands these instructions without thinking, because it was designed to return to ease when invited kindly. A bell chimes once within the lighthouse, round and low, and the sound settles into you like a pebble finding the quiet at the bottom of a clear pool. The ripples move outward through your chest and belly and hips, and each ripple requests another inch of relaxation, and the body says yes. Agree to this rest with another unhurried exhale, and feel how the yes widens across your entire being. We step back from the balcony and let the lighthouse beam shepherd us toward a corridor of night that glows just enough to guide. The corridor ends at a simple door suspended in space, painted the color of early dawn, and on the handle is a ribbon that reads, "Welcome home." Open the door in your mind and discover a room that looks like the inside of a sigh, all soft corners and warm absence of urgency. In the center of the room is a bed made of cloud and memory foam, a bed that remembers every position where you have ever felt safe. Lie down upon it in imagination and in truth, because your physical body can mirror this comfort while your mind glides. The pillow cups your head the way a shoreline cups the sea at low tide, and everything that was once sharp becomes rounded. A quiet lullaby begins, not from an instrument, but from the architecture of the room itself, the way air holds you and supports you without asking for effort. The melody pairs with your inhale and exhale until both feel like they were written together on the same gentle page. You become the easiest of listeners, the kind who understands that music is a form of kindness that does not need applause. If you notice any last knots of the day, invite your next 3 exhales to visit those places with warmth, as if your breath were a stream of evening tea. With each exhale, imagine the knot loosening a thread, and then another thread, and then the last thread, until the muscle becomes a quiet lake again. The water in that lake does not argue, because stillness does not debate. We will let the room dim itself down even further, as if someone kindly turned a lantern from bright to soft, to the exact level your eyelids prefer. Outside the windows of the room, the night sky moves at the pace of breath, and an occasional star glides by as if waving. A sense of distance and nearness merge, and everything feels just right for sleeping. If a thought rises, greet it the way you would greet a bird landing briefly on a fence, with quiet attention and no need to hold it. The bird will lift off again, and your breath will keep rocking the branch. You do not have to manage the flock, because the flock knows its way home without instruction. Breathe in and tell yourself, "I am safe in this moment," and allow the words to slide through your body like a warm ribbon. Breathe out and say, "I am allowed to rest," and let the ribbon settle across your chest where your heart hears every word clearly. Let the phrases fade into feeling, because feelings are often the best listeners. We will coast now, lower and lower, the way a feather finds the pillow without noticing the last inch of falling. Your breath is the feather, and the pillow is this night, and the landing is already happening as you continue to do nothing. No one can fail at this, because arriving is what breath does when you let it. When your mind wonders how much longer until sleep, remind it that sleep does not live on a schedule when kindness is present. Sleep prefers to come like a tide that respects your shore, and it has already begun to touch your toes and ankles and knees with cool reassurance. Let that tide climb higher with each exhale until the whole of you rests in gentle water that sways without a single wave to startle you. The room, the lighthouse, the terrace, the aurora, the meadow of stars, and the cloud all fold themselves into a quilt that tucks you in from every direction. You are held by images you created and sensations you allowed, which means you can recreate them whenever you need. This is the skill of rest, and you are practicing it beautifully. If you are already drifting, you can let the remaining words dissolve into the hum of night like sugar into warm milk, sweet and almost invisible. If you are still awake, savor this last invitation to soften your face, your throat, your chest, your belly, your hips, your legs, and your feet. The whole body becomes a conversation of yes whispered from one muscle to the next. The sky outside continues its tender turning, and somewhere far away a kind wind changes direction without urgency. That wind carries news of morning, but morning will not arrive until you are ready to greet it with rested eyes. Until then, night leans close and says that it will keep watch. Your breath rocks you in time with the universe's most ancient rhythm, a cradle song older than worry and brand new every time you hear it. Let it carry you now. Not to any single dream, but to a gentle field where dreams graze quietly and wander back only if invited. Everything that needs you can wait for the version of you that returns from this field, softer and clearer and whole. Close the door gently on the day and leave the latch loose so morning can enter when it is time, not a moment sooner. Place your attention in the small space behind the heart and let it rest there like a candle that burns without smoke. The candle will keep its company, and you do not need to tend it anymore tonight. Feel the mattress hold your weight perfectly, and let the pillow cradle the back of your head with trustworthy kindness. Your jaw stays loose, your shoulders stay low, your breath stays slow, and your mind learns again that softness is a form of intelligence. All the way down you go, unspooling into ease like a ribbon that finally understands it was made to flutter. The night sky continues its silver breathing above you, and your inner sky answers in unison, two quiet choirs singing the same gentle song. Let that harmony linger as long as it likes, because harmony is the friend of sleep and the cousin of peace. You do not have to listen closely to hear it. You only need to keep being here, which you are doing so well. That ends tonight's journey, but you're welcome to stay a bit longer.